Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to another exciting meeting at Interpersonal Toastmasters. At Interpersonal Toastmasters, it's all about you, just you. And today, we have an exciting theme by Toastmaster Jim. Let us see what he has for us. Toastmaster Jim, it's all yours.
Thank you so much, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Challenging our assumptions. Well, first of all, what is an assumption? Merriam-Webster's dictionary defines an assumption as an idea or some consensus that develops and it's taken for granted as being true, even though it's not necessarily proven to be true. And since our club is called Interpersonal Toastmasters, there are many different kinds of assumptions. There are economic assumptions. There are assumptions that are more relevant to the business world. But I wanted to personalize it a little bit more from some of my own experience in the hopes that it can relate to most of you effectively. Now, when I was born in the very, 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 very early 1960s, one of the medical assumptions was that a baby born prematurely by 3 months, like I was, and that a baby born weighing only 2 pounds or so and born with cerebral palsy, well, that baby's chances would not be very good, and probably the baby would not survive. And that was true. But with the persistence of my beautiful grandmother and the great doctors who she was able to have me go to for surgery, I'm here. I finally learned to walk at age 4, and through more surgery at age 9, I can stand at 6'5". That would not have been possible had it not been for those early experiences. And one of the first things that are important in terms of challenging assumptions is exposure. So in that particular case, had I not had exposure to the medical care that I got very early on in my formative years, I might not have survived. So that's one thing. Secondly, how was I going to be educated? Having cerebral palsy when other people in my family did not meant that I had to go to a special school for a time, a school that's tailored to the needs of people with disabilities. I sort of was jealous of my brother and sister because I wanted to go to the same kinds of schools that they went to. I didn't want to have to go on this special bus that was so visible, everybody could see it, everybody knew it was a special bus. It kind of made me stand out. Oh, there's my nickname was Beanie in those days. Oh, there's Beanie getting on that special bus. And it really kind of embarrassed me a bit. It made me stand out in a way that I didn't want to stand out, to the point where I started to question, is my education at this special school, is it good enough for me to really have me come into my own? And I really didn't know that. I had questions all throughout elementary school and so forth, maybe up even through junior high school. But again, those assumptions about myself started to change because of exposure. In 10th grade, I convinced my grandmother and some of the policymakers at the special school called the Cerebral Palsy Center, hey, I think that I have what it takes to be mainstreamed into a regular high school environment with students who don't have disabilities. I'd like to see what I can do. So 10th grade, I split time between that regular school, so-called, and my special school that I was part of. And it went better than I ever could have imagined, And it made me realize that the academic thrust that I was getting from the special school was more than good enough to prepare me for whatever would come later. But what really was so excellent about having this exposure to students without disabilities was socially. I knew that I was able to fit in ways that I might not have been sure of beforehand. So that was another way in which exposure was very important to me. And in the next part of the theme, which I'll continue after speaker number 2, I'll turn to how I had to challenge assumptions from a professional standpoint. So hopefully you'll stick with me and get ready for a great meeting tonight. Thank you for listening, and we'll be back to continue the theme at a later point. Thank you very much. Now, let us have our grammarian tonight. That's Namita. Would you please introduce the grammarian? I'm sorry, Viveka.
Okay, Thank you, Jim. That's okay. Good morning, everyone, or good evening. My name is Viveka Tiwari, and I am grammarian for the day. As a grammarian, it is my duty to pay close attention to the good usage of English and provide constructive feedback for improvements. I would like to introduce the word of the day as well. And I would appreciate if all the speakers would use the word of the day as frequently as they can. So the word of the day is quintessential. It's an adjective. It means anything that is a typical or of something or an important part of something. For example, sheep's milk cheese is the quintessential Corsican cheese. Or I can say I belong to a quintessential small town in Uttarakhand. So that is what is the word of the day. I shall be presenting my report by the end of the meeting when I will be called upon by the Toastmasters of the day. And yeah, that is what it is. Break a leg to all the speakers. Yeah, thank you. Back to you, Jim.
Thank you, Viveka, very much. Our first speaker of the evening, we will have 2 speakers tonight. And the first speaker is Vijaya Jayaraman, and he will be speaking from the Motivational Strategies Path, Level 4, Project number 2, Motivate Others. And the title of that speech, Enhance, Enlarge, Evolve. So let's have our first speaker come to address us tonight. The timing, but by the way, is 6 to 8 minutes.
Birds nest, bunnies burrows, ant hill. Thank you, Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and distinguished guests. Birds nest, bunnies burrows, and ant hill. These are all old technology for hundreds of years, whereas human beings have extended from a hut from a cave to a hut to a concrete house to a greenhouse. Only human beings have the ability to enhance, enlarge, and evolve. My parents and I, we moved from a tiny village in India to a cosmopolitan city. We want something like Alpine County near Nevada with 2,999 population to Santa Clara with 126,000 population. That's where we changed. And it was called Bombay those days, and it converged with all the people from all the cities, different states of the nation in India. And so people, their children could have better opportunities. My parents put me in a homogeneous school where my parents thought that I need to learn my mother tongue and I need to maintain my culture. After high school, all my friends joined a college from the same management, a homogeneous society. But I chose to go into a different college, which is close to my house. I could walk. My college experience opened up a whole new doorway, a huge gateway to diversity universe. That's when I extended myself to recognize the diversity. I accepted it, I appreciated it, and I adored it. I learned from each one of them. I made a lot of friends from different backgrounds, different food habits, different dress habits, different religion, different belief system. And I maintained friendship then, and even today, I have some of my friends whom I studied with 50 years ago. Later, I migrated to US about 30 years ago, and that opened the floodgates to me. I met people from Serbia, Italy, Philippines, Poland, Rwanda, Mexico, you name it. It was a macrocosmic effect. It's more like a rubber band. See, think about this rubber band, and I expanded like this. And I cannot go back in size. And I don't want to. I evolved to realize that the more we see the differences, the more we categorize, classify and catalog. The more we classify, the more isolated we become. And inadvertently, we put shackles around us, limiting us from extending, expanding, and evolving. Diversity is always there, and it was always there. It will be there ever. It is normal. But we often choose to be in our own cocoon, bubble, a comfort zone. Differences are nothing but diversity. Diversity is multiplicity. Diversity is variance. Diversity is distinctiveness. You need the vision, not the sight, to know about this. Human beings, there are three distinct differences I can think about. Let me share a screen for you. Just a few slides I have. I created it. Hope you all can see the screen.
Yes.
Diversity. All the borders, we created the borders. There are only three distinct diversity in the universe. Let me go back. Between humans and animals. That is the first diversity. And then from a single-celled amoeba to worms, ants, insects, fish, four-legged animals, domestic animals, wild animals, not to mention the nocturnal animals. Diversity is natural, normal. Think about all these vegetables. Don't you see the diversity? This is natural, normal. And you can see within human beings, height, weight, color, rich, poor, student, teacher, employee, employers. Don't you see diversity? How about the blood group? A, B, AB, O. This is all normal, natural differences. Now, within one person, if you look at it, my eyes are not same as my ears. My hands can do what my feet can do. I can walk on my hands, but that is not efficient. So diversity is normal, natural, all organs work together and they're interdependent. So are we, human beings from around the globe. Think about the food that we eat, the taste, the flavors, the textures. So this is very important to understand and practice in our life. Without diversity, think about our club. If we have 20 BJs or 20 Jim, 20 Raghu, how will it look? The differences are beautiful. That is very important to understand. We see it, nature provides us right in front of us. Won't it be boring if we have same, and especially when I go for a walk, I see greens, different shades of greens. Think about one patch of trees, same green. Now people, if we all look same, how will it be? What stops us to recognize this diversity, live together, respect, love, and be kind and serve? Why are we seeing the differences and afraid and disturbed? Let's focus on synergy. Synergy is cooperation. Synergy is collaboration. Synergy is camaraderie. Unity is not uniformity. Unity is among diversity is divinity. Diversity is beautiful. Diversity is dainty. Embrace it, encourage it, enlarge, enhance, and evolve. Now to the Toastmaster.
Okay, thank you so much for that speech. It's much appreciated. Much appreciated. Our second speaker of the evening is Catherine Opondo, who will be speaking from, yes.
I'm sorry, there was time budgeted for Q&A, so maybe we can go into Q&A for 2 to 3 minutes.
No, Piyush, the time's already elapsed, I guess, right?
Yeah, there was 3 to 5 minutes for speech and 2 to 3 minutes for Q&A. So I timed the speech and now is the time for
Sure. Thanks.
Okay. Any questions from anybody? Just go around, walk. Just how many of you walked every day or every other day? Raise your hand. Just go for a walk. When you're walking, don't you see squirrels, ants, birds, different types of birds, sparrows, crows, different flowers, different colors of flowers? This is all diversity, natural, normal, right in front of our eyes. But I like this pink flower. I like that taste. It's all in the mind. Likes and dislikes are in the mind. We want to see the diversity, beauty as is. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. What is in your mind is what beauty is. Yes, Akim?
For us that are maybe pushed into a box where we have to be a certain way, or everyone wants everyone to act the same way, how do you suggest we get around that in order to enjoy the diversity that is all around us?
We cannot standardize everything. Universe is full of diversity. If you standardize, then we have the same taste in food. There is same flavor, same texture. People are beautiful. Each one has different strengths and weaknesses. Let us just see the beauty in others instead of just looking at the negativities in others. because the positivity and negativities are in the mind. See the thing as is. When you see the pen, you just see the pen. You can just see a pen, or you can see a red pen and a green pen. Just see, it's a pen to write. That's it. That's the function. Each one has a unique function to perform in this universe. A worm in the garden loosens the soil. It's no different. That is its function. We all have the same thing. Each being has got a definite purpose and function. No one is insignificant. Did I answer your question? Anyone else, please? Maybe I can take one more question. Oh, we have two questions. Yes, Kenneth, and then Tiana, you can write it down, type it. Somebody can read it later for me.
My question is, as humans, we're social creatures, and we are bred to go look at people who are successful. Now, the definition of success can be highly subjective, and I think, we all should have our own personal definitions of success. But we are going to go look at what other people who are successful. What do you suggest we do with those thoughts?
There is no success or failure in life. There is an outcome for your actions. When you like it, you say success. When I don't like it, then I say failure. How do you define success? Somebody with $1 billion is successful? Somebody in a high position is successful? No, success is defined as a progressive realization of ideas. Whatever your idea is, it is different from Catherine, different from Susan, different from Jim. Success is a progressive realization of your ideas. That's it. Yes. Can someone read Diana's question? If she typed it, I can see it. Quintessential, that bird or function. I didn't read it. What's the question? Jim, could you read that for me, please? What is the question?
It's not a question. She made a statement. Quintessential, that bird or function, human brain, that mother.
I didn't quite understand. But each one is unique. Just like Jim just mentioned in a speech that about assumption. You mentioned about special bus. Special bus is in our mind. So it is special school and is a unique school. We can say it is unique. Doesn't mean it is any negative connotation. It is just unique. Not everybody gets to go. Some get to go, some don't. Everything is special in this universe. Our vision makes it in a negative way. That's why we have negative feelings towards others, because we see different. When we see the oneness in all, then there is love, compassion, kindness. What is the difference? I have traveled to many countries, Czech Republic, Netherlands, Poland, Mexico, London, all these countries. People work hard and raise their children. They work and they take care of their parents. That is the bottom line. No difference. It's how you see what you see. Thank you.
Great job, Vijay. Thank you so much. Great questions as well. Thank you. Our second speaker of the evening, Catherine Opondo. She'll be speaking from the Dynamic Leadership in Pathways Path Level 1, Project number 2. And will her evaluator, Daphne, introduce the speech title and the timing, please? Do we have Daphne?
Yes, Daphne's right here. I just
Okay.
had to pull that up. The purpose of Catherine's speech this evening is to present a speech and receive feedback from an evaluator. She will then take that feedback and use it on her subsequent speech. The speech this evening should be between 5 and 7 minutes and is entitled Before Term.
Thank you so much, Daphne. Thank you. And now, please welcome Catherine Apondo.
Toastmaster Jim, can you hear me? I have removed
Yes, I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you.
Clear. Thank you so much. I just needed to confirm that. Just give me a minute. What would you do with a kilogram of sugar? What do you think can come out of this kilogram of sugar? Toastmasters and guests, I will be sharing a report from an interview of a doctor that I spoke with. Dr. Angela, a professor at the University of South Azusa, USA. While I spoke to her, our conversation shifted to her history. She was born at 26 weeks and weighed less than this kilogram of sugar. As she spoke, my eyes popped wide open. She was subjected to neonatal care and kangaroo care. Fortunately, she gained the required weight and made it through the milestones out of hospital. Dr. Angela is a successful ethnomusicology professor. With 3 children, a husband, she takes up time to share her story. I get up at 4 a.m. every night, she started. I was distracted, blown away by the number of certificates on her wall and books in her shelf. She mentioned her routine. She described her runs of the day, and I simply saw a quintessential description of a wife, mother, philanthropist, community leader, and professor. Now, listening to her made me reflect on what happens to many children in my home country, Uganda, that are born this way, but do not have the opportunities Dr. Angela had. Children born before term usually will have several issues that come with their development. The World Health Organization has said to us that over 15 million babies worldwide are born preterm with high-risk disabilities like cerebral palsy, delayed development, and very surmountable neurodevelopmental issues. Approximately more than 5,000 live births in France alone in 2015 or in 2011 were recorded as being preterm between the gestational weeks of 22 and 34. In my country, it has been recorded that we were the 13th out of 184 countries with children that were born preterm, highest number of children. And for that, 1.5 million children of these 210,000 Ugandan babies are born preterm. That is a total heavy weight on our economy. Now, if I asked a medical practitioner what exactly the cause of preterm birth is, this is what they would say to me: intrauterine retardation, meaning the uterus will simply choose to expel or push away the pregnancy. How am I saying this to you? because I have experienced it. Some of the causes of preterm birth will include medical issues like preeclampsia, or what we call high blood pressure due to diabetes. Different genetical factors will lead to it. For others, it has to do with emotional stress. And in my country, the majority of them, it's because most of them were teenage mothers and were dealing with underage childbirth. So how is it that a child grown up now like Dr. Angela was able to be successful, and yet she was born under such risky circumstances? In developing countries, early intervention, like we have learned from our Toastmaster today, has been very crucial in shaping the future of children born at preterm. They know, these societies know it too well, that it is important to pay attention to the first 100 days of the child and more. But I will explain what the first 100 days include. They include supplementation, they include breathing, they include hygiene, they include stimulation, brain stimulation. These are very important in the first 100 days and will determine the outcome of the child's future. Attention to this means it will need resources, the caregivers will be sensitized, and the children will be placed in some of the things that our Toastmaster talked about, like special care, special therapies to help them cope with their development. Toastmasters and guests, I wouldn't be sharing this story with you if I did not experience this as a mother. In fact, I am convinced that children born preterm, like medical experts have explained, are successful, they're exceptional, they're usually gifted, and will beat the odds in all. If I didn't want to share this story, I wouldn't be talking about, for example, my 17-year-old daughter who will be making it to the university in a few months. Back to you, Toastmaster. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine, for that wonderful contribution tonight. And I suppose we'll have a little bit of time for Q&A.
This one doesn't have Q&A, sorry.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you for that. I would like to continue with the theme of our meeting tonight, challenging assumptions. And I'm just going to fast forward very quickly to after college graduation. I really wanted to be a lawyer. And a couple of years after graduation, I took what is called the law school admission test, the LSAT. It's a standardized test. And I had, during some of my school years, had some difficulty with standardized tests, but not to a catastrophic level. The law school admission test was different. I really had trouble with it. And I took it twice. And I did better the second time, but neither time did I do well enough on the standardized test to get accepted to the law schools I went to, or I wanted to go to, or that I applied to. Assumption. Could it be that Black students as a whole have more difficulty with standardized testing? And could it also be because, well, they're just missing something? Maybe they're less able to handle abstractions that you would expect to encounter in law. Maybe I just wouldn't be good enough. But luckily, through exposure to other possibilities in the legal profession, I have a career now as a paralegal that I've had for many years. And so that has shattered the assumption that the only way to have a satisfying career in the law is to be an attorney, is to have that Juris Doctor credential next to your name. But not necessarily so. Because of the years that I have been able to develop my craft as a paralegal, I'm able to use and develop legal skills like interviewing skills, knowing how to interview clients, knowing how to write legal arguments, knowing how to write appeals. I happen to specialize in Social Security law. If I were at a private law firm as a paralegal, I would not be allowed to do direct representation of people. They're just as a whole are not allowed to provide direct representation to their clients. They can support, but most private law firms don't allow paralegals to represent. But that's not the case in the kind of legal environment that I'm in, because we are a nonprofit firm and we assist low-income communities on Long Island in terms of housing and, in my case, Social Security benefits. So I've been able to make contributions in ways that would not be possible in other legal situations. And I am every day grateful for that, to the point where I've also been able to help train new attorneys who come in and who are new to Social Security law and are trying to learn the ropes. People come to me, they ask my opinion, they give me their legal documents and ask for my opinions. And that's a great compliment. And I really consider that to be just a gift. So to conclude our theme on challenging assumptions, exposure is the great way to do it, or the best way to do it, I have found in my own experience. And I think also it has helped me in terms of my dealings with other people outside of the workspace. So that's my personal story in terms of assumptions and how challenging them has really made a big difference in my life. And I hope that in whatever issues or challenges that you come up with in your life, if there are assumptions that are getting in your way, that you find ways that are productive for you to challenge your own assumptions. Thank you very much for listening. Greatly appreciate it. And if we could introduce now our table topics master for tonight, Toastmaster Kenneth.
Thank you, Jim. Tonight's topic for table topics is all about feedback. As Toastmasters, we really celebrate giving feedback. And we very much recognize and know that there is multiple ways of giving feedback. And so today we're going to do an exercise where we are going to look at the different types of feedback so we can all improve. And I have enlisted, I'm using air quotes, enlisted a couple of Toastmasters to help me today. Can I get screen sharing privileges for whoever is IT? I am not able to share my screen. It says is currently disabled. I'm not sure who the host is.
You are a co-host now, Kenneth.
Wonderful, thank you. Thank you, Raghu. So I was on a webcast not too long ago, and they went and pointed out that if you want to seem really smart, you should put your ideas in a 2x2 grid. So that's exactly what I have here. I have specificity on my x-axis and developmental through motivational on the y-axis. And we're going to be using the stack of playing cards as a metaphor for the kinds of feedback we can give. So our first type of feedback we can give today is the club. The club is non-specific, but it is developmental. And you can think of it like being hit in the back of the head with a club. Nobody really likes that. It's not specific, but we want you to do better. So you might see in the workplace, somebody might say something like, that wasn't good enough, or it's not working. What's missing there? They're not telling you why, and they're not really telling you, like, there's no specificity on how to make it better. And so Raghu was good enough to send me one of his portraits of a rabbit. He's an illustrator. And I was hoping that Toastmaster, let's see, Akeem, if you would be good enough to give some feedback as though you're using the club to Raghu on his rabbit.
When I look at this rabbit, Raghu, it is the quintessential picture of something I would expect to see in maybe a grade school. It's not bad, but something is missing. Almost like, it could be better. But how do you make it better? I think you should just start over and we figure that out later. However, I really don't like something about this rabbit. It's almost as if there's an issue with the, Raghu, you saw it. Or maybe it's how do I put this? It was a great attempt, Raghu. It was a wonderful attempt. But maybe you could do it again and try something a little different to make it a little bit better. But I think you did a wonderful, wonderful job, Mr. Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Akeem. That was the quintessential club. Next up, we have the heart. So the heart is feedback that is not specific, but it's motivational. If you just give someone feedback saying, great job, that was amazing, you're a total legend, you're not really telling them what they're doing that's good and why you like it. And so they can't improve. And so Namita actually sent me a picture of her rabbit. And I was wondering if maybe I could call on Toastmaster Mary, our guest today, if she could give Namita some feedback on her rabbit in the style of a heart. And if Mary is not on, how about Viveka? Would you want to give heart feedback?
Thank you, Kenneth. I'm bad at it. Okay. Wow, Namita, what a great job. Your rabbit is walking on the grass. That speaks a lot about it. And it has small, tiny, cute hands, which I really like. I also like the mustache of the rabbit, and especially the flaps, the ears. Wow. You have even painted the ears red. I've never seen a rabbit with red ears, but that's quite an imagination. Not bad at all. Creative. In fact, the eyes, usually rabbits, have those eyes aligned, but your rabbit has non-aligned eyes, which again is quite a creative toss. I mean, I couldn't have thought about it. There are clouds as well. There's a blazing sun. So I guess the rabbit is a little thirsty or a bit hungry as well, but there is grass as well. So rabbit can bend down, eat the grass. We are
11.
I guess I'm done.
I think you're almost too specific.
More power to you, Namita.
You're almost too specific with your feedback for a
heart.
Oh,
that was bad. Okay. That
no, it wasn't bad. It was almost too specific. Next, we have the spade. So this is feedback that is both developmental and specific. This is the kind of feedback, it's still good feedback, right? We're being specific. We know where we want to improve. And I like to remember this one because it's like a spade digging to the root cause of an issue. So I noticed X and I would like to see Y going forward because of Z. it's a pretty good way of giving feedback. So Adarsh, actually, he's quite an artist as well. He's got his rabbit here. And I was wondering if, let's see, do I have a volunteer? Maybe Deanna, if you want to type out your response, and then while she's going, let's see, Payush, if you wanted to give Adarsh feedback on his rabbit.
Sure. This is an awesome rabbit. Look at the pencil style. It is using light stroke, the dark stroke where needed to have the depth. That's really impressive. The eyes, it has a twinkle in the middle. That's awesome. But I do see some parts of the rabbit missing. So maybe we add like other body parts than the head here. And also maybe a little bit of the background, just to showcase the environment for the rabbit. And anything that goes with it would be awesome. Thank you, Toastmaster, back to you.
Thank you. Our last type of feedback is the diamond. And it's always our goal, if we can in Toastmasters, to give diamond type feedback, but we'll also take the spade feedback when applicable. The diamond is specific and motivational. Everyone loves a diamond and they're super clear. What I loved about X was Y. We could even try adding Z. So Susan, she put together her rabbit, and I was wondering if maybe Daphne might want to give Susan some feedback on her rabbit.
The rabbit, yeah. I think you did a fantastic job with that rabbit. We can see that the face and the body looks like that of a rabbit. We can also see that the ears look like that of a rabbit. Now, there's some things that you can do to improve that rabbit. The ears, I think, are, even though I can see that they are rabbit ears, they are a little longer than I would expect. So perhaps shorten the ears of the rabbit. Additionally, the haunches of the rabbit, there seems to be something not quite right. And whilst I cannot place my hand on it, I know that a rabbit that we generally see has a round tail. And perhaps if you make that tail round, it would look more like a rabbit. But overall, I thought that you did a great job because I have seen rabbits before. And this, as I look at it, I would immediately think that it's a rabbit. But with some improvement, it would be even more realistic. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you so much. I see we are a little pressed for time, so I am going to go ahead and conclude table topics now and turn things back over to our Toastmaster of the day, Jim Denson.
Thank you very much for an excellent table topics segment. Much appreciated. Let us now hear from the speech evaluators for the evening tonight, or do we first do a meeting evaluation? Oh, okay. Well, as far as the meeting evaluation is concerned, I think we've had a very positive meeting. It started a little bit later than we normally do start it. I think the theme was brought together pretty well by both the Toastmaster of the evening and especially by our first speaker, Catherine Apondo, or the second speaker, and also a lot of time was left for feedback between the speeches, which was very important, and also the table topics were very thought-provoking, and the responses to the table topics questions were both well thought out and informative. Overall, an excellent, quintessentially fitting meeting for Interpersonal Toastmasters. And let us keep doing so in the future. Our evaluator for speaker number 1, Susan Schultz. Would you please provide your evaluation for speaker number 1?
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, and especially VJ. The quintessential part of Toastmasters is our Pathways program. And prior to the meeting, I was provided the evaluation form, as was on the agenda, that said to motivate others. Now, I'm going to give a slight precaution in that the project was to be about working on a project and sharing how you have motivated others. I would suggest I have the wrong form because this was more of an inspirational speech through a Q&A type format. So I'm going to go with that as a thought. Your title was intriguing. I had my imagination going wild. Enhance, enlarge, and evolve. And then you said another short 3 words that I heard, and I must tell you, I'm so appreciative that you repeated it so we could make sure that not only I, but the rest of the audience could hear it and reinforce it, that it was bird's nest, bunny's hill, and an anthill. Now, you went on with your story just a little bit more to talk about caves and huts and moving into houses, and it seemed a little subtle movement from that thought, from houses and humans and so on, and I was still puzzled. I was truly confused to where we were going with it, but you stood there confidently and then blossomed into what your speech was really about, the diversity from what not only your small village, but throughout the world through your travels. And now you captured me, and I'm sure the rest of the audience. What I saw were some very good gestures throughout where you were enhancing it. You stood for your speech, so you were very confident. I would suggest to you that when you talked about eyes or ears, you had an opportunity to point to them to enhance the speech just a little. You then went on with great passion. I heard your vocal variety through the phraseology that you used, the words that you used, where you were talking about the differences are so beautiful, and we could hear your passion about the topic. I thought you used wonderful examples of it all throughout the speech. I heard them. I was able to grasp and understand, and I loved the visual that you had of the rubber band. It is stretched, and then a larger one where it really stretched, and that's what we're all called to do. I would suggest that to enhance the close of your speech, perhaps a call to action to your audience, telling them, rather than being stuck in one place, can you try to evolve and enlarge and enhance the way the rubber band did? Just something to tie it all together and tie back to your title. I did appreciate your question and answer portion of it, however brief. I thought you directly answered those questions with great panache. The quintessential part of Toastmasters is for the evaluator to have the right evaluation form. So I'll make sure I get that for you and send it off. Thank you. Your inspirational speech.
Thank you very much, Susan, for, as usual, an excellent evaluation. Let's now go to our evaluator for speaker number 2, and that is Daphne, who will be evaluating Catherine and her speech. Daphne, please.
The quintessential part of every Toastmasters meeting is evaluation. It's what helps us to grow. And this evening, Catherine's speech says that its objective is to give Catherine some feedback which she can incorporate into another speech. I will start the evaluation by telling you the things that I liked that Catherine did, the areas that I think she can improve, and what I thought stood out the most for me. First, what I liked was that Catherine used two stories within her speech. One of someone who was successful, who was preterm, and another of someone who was as unsuccessful as they could be, being a preterm, someone who had died. Her personal story of death from preterm baby, a preterm baby, as well as others within her country. I liked that she did that because it really brought that story to light. I also liked the fact that Catherine went on to show us that the person who succeeded is not just any person, someone who lives any ordinary life, but someone who is so successful that that individual is a doctor. And that, I thought, meant that any preconceived ideas that we might have had was immediately dashed to the stones. Well done, dear Catherine. Now, there are two things that I thought Catherine can improve on for her very next speech. The first one is what we saw when we looked at Catherine's presentation. First, in terms of what I saw, framing of Catherine on the screen. I could see too much of the roof. The camera appeared to be at an incorrect angle. I would suggest that before the meeting, you set the camera up so that your camera is at eye level, so you're looking directly across at your camera. That ensures that we do not see only part of your face, but the entire face, plus part of your body, so we can see your gestures. That's one of the first things that I think you can work on. The next one would be to ensure that at the end of your speech, there is some call to action. And I seem to be repeating what someone else said, but why did you tell us this story? Remember, every time you present a speech, there's a reason why you're giving that speech. What do you want us to do, to think, or to feel as a result of having listened to that story? And ensure that at the end, there's something that tells us that. Overall, what did I like overall? I like the fact that you felt brave enough to stand up and present on something that affected you so much. Well done. Continue swiftly and make those improvements that are necessary. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Daphne. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Excellent job. Can we now hear from our counter? That's Mr. Payush.
No, it's not
No?
Piyush. Our counter is Namita.
Oh, sorry. From Namita, sorry. Our counter, Namita.
Thank you, Jim. There were very less usages of filler words today. Was used by yourself, DJ, and Daphne, and was used more than once by yourself and Catherine. Rest of the people were speaking, as per the grammar. So thanks, over to you.
Thank you very much. And now let's hear from our grammarian for tonight, Viveka.
Hi, Jim. Thank you, everyone, for the wonderful speeches. I like the fact that everybody used the word quintessential. Jim actually gave us an adverb to the adjective quintessential that he used it. He said quintessentially, that's an adverb to the adjective. That's, that's wonderful. So good usage of English. I like the word homogeneous, kangaroo care, catastrophic, beat the odds. It's an idiom. I also liked the way people are using figure of speech in our speeches. Like PJ used a lot of alliteration, as pointed out by Susan. The one I noted down was encourage, enlarge, enhance, and of course Susan pointed out the other one, which is amazing. I would ask Vijaya to use more of metaphor, because I'm sure that she's good at it. Instead of using, yes, there were good usage of English. Call to action. Panache is such a fancy word. Wow, great work, Susan. I love the word. So now back to some improvements, maybe feedback. There aren't many feedback. It's not vegetable. The stress is it's vegetables or vegetables. So it can be worked upon on. As I personally feel that a particular word should not be repeated in a conversation or a speech multiple times, be it also, or the word, I would say diversity. We can use synonyms of the word diversity, like distinctive, or heterogeneous is a good word. So that can be played with. So that's my report. And yeah, that was wonderful. I appreciate people to use, I really appreciate the fact that everybody used the word quintessential. I'm really thankful for it. And great job to everybody. More power to all the speakers. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Viveka, very much. Appreciate it. Let us now hear from our timer for the evening, Payush.
Thank you, Toastmaster Jim. Timing the meeting is a quintessential part of the Toastmasters. And these are one of the days where I don't want the time to stop. I don't want to show the red card, because all the speeches are so inspiring, so touching, so motivating everyone. Thank you, everyone, for delivering those speeches. Now, back to the timing. Our speech one, Vijaya took around 7 minutes, 44 seconds in the speech, and the Q&A went for around 6 minutes. I think the Q&A went much more than the budgeted time, and I think I was using a bit outdated sheets. That's why I timed both of them separately. The speech two, it was within the range, 7 minutes and 5 seconds. Great job, Catherine. Table topics, awesome variety. I have never seen such type of table topic presentation. So great job, table topic master. Akeem took 1 minute, 23 seconds. Viveka, 1 minute, 27 seconds. Me, Piyush, 1 minute, 5 seconds. Daphne, minute, 20 seconds. Everyone was within that 1 to 2 minutes time limit. Evaluations are also within the limit. Susan took 3 minutes and 33 seconds. Daphne, 3 minutes and 40 seconds. Over to you, Toastmaster Jim.
Thank you very much, Piyush. Great summary in terms of time. And now I would like to ask our guests for tonight for their comments generally about tonight's meeting. Would there be anybody who'd be willing to share quickly about their overall reactions to the meeting? Any guest?
Hi, everyone. I am Adila. I just got the invite from Raghu. I am the newly appointed area director for this particular area. Happy to join your club, part of a member. I was there only for the last 10-15 minutes. I loved the grammarian report to be in specific. I also liked the way the evaluators did the evaluation, positives, areas of improvement. Looking forward to join many more meetings, and I'll be part of the club, so I'll take up a lot more roles in the near future.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Appreciate it. Would any other guests like to give a comment about tonight's meeting?
Yeah, this is Adarsh here. Am I audible?
Go right ahead.
Yeah, for me, this was a great session today. Wonderful one. I loved the session. I wanted to mention that majority of the people say, okay, the morning, the good thing, the great experience in the morning to have is go for a walk, do this walking, running, jogging, meeting new people on the streets. However, for me, a great experience to have in the morning nowadays is attend a Toastmasters event. I've thought of attending this, and this has been a really great event. And I also hate the word assumption because I am a perfume collector. I wear perfumes on different occasions. So many people have started asking me, Adarsh, are you really collecting this much perfumes to attract the ladies? So assumptions is really dangerous. So I thought of attending this. Overall, a wonderful event. I would love to attend the Interpersonal Toastmasters Club event again and again. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that feedback. Much appreciated. Deanna, do you have your hand up? You can type your response. Just a general